Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Eel Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the trailer of Madam Web, and then we're going to be moving on to talking about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And then after that, we're going to have Mike do a character spotlight, and that's going to be it for today. So let's get right into it and talk about Madam Web.
Well, the first trailer dropped a while ago. They've been having a bunch of TV spots,
Yep.
and I'm gonna be honest. I do not have high hopes for this movie.
So I keep hearing mixed things about this. So there was rumors that Andrew Garfield was going to be mentioned heavily in it. Then it got changed, and he's not anymore.
Yep.
They got rid of all like the time frame stuff and everything else. I don't want to. So here's my thing. I don't want to because I can easily go off on a tangent on this. I think we should focus on character by character. How do you feel about Madam Web as a character from what you've seen so far? Now I know it's just the trailer.
So clearly, they're deciding to go with an origin story for Madam Web,
Yep.
and I don't know how I feel about this because every iteration of Madam Web that I've seen, she's already experienced and old and in her like okay, elder. I don't know how old she typically is, but she's typically older than what we've seen in the trailer.
Well, the other thing too is she's a character that's outside of the realm of time. I always think of. So,
Well,
like,
yes.
yes, I agree with you. Like, she always looks older, but realistically, like, kind of like He Who Remains, like she could be eons old, and we wouldn't know. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah,
it's like I do agree with you. I'm just busting your chops because
I know.
what is funny is normally all the renditions we see of her, she's gray, like
Yeah.
she's already like an elderly looking woman. But the main point I'm making is she always is somebody that's been around for what I would imagine is like eons, not
Mhm.
like human years.
Yeah. No, it's definitely like the way the trailer's making it seem is she's just starting out. She's in her 30s, like just discovering her powers. She's learning what's going on. She's trying to save these people who she has no idea who they are. She just knows that she has to save them. And like I said, the renditions that we usually see of Madam Web, she's older, she's experienced, she knows what she's doing. She plays a bit of mind games, and this movie is an origin story, so this is going to be an interesting take of what they're going to be doing.
Yeah, I think for me, it's a disconnect to the character that I'm aware of. So like I
Yeah.
grew up obviously with Spider-Man the animated series, um, where she was like the I mean yeah she played her games and everything else, but she knew what needed to be done but didn't tell anybody what was going on.
hmm
Like
She
she'd
she
make
pointed people in the
decisions.
direction and hoped they got there.
Yeah, and I think for me that's not what we're seeing here, but at the very same time, and I have to be open-minded about it, is that even though it looks like we pretty much know the plot of the movie from this trailer, from those trailers I should say,
That's for sure.
there's a lot of movie that we haven't seen that might not have, like, it might show us what we're looking for, if you understand what I'm getting at.
Okay, I'll give you that. I think for me, the disconnect for this trailer is that they're trying to show comedy in the trailer, and because I don't have context with these characters, the comedy is just falling flat. Like it's like, why are you putting that in there? That should be held for the movie. Like for example, like, oh, I can see the future, and she
And
throws
then she
something
throws
at
the
her. Oh,
thing.
you see, she didn't see that. Why?
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. The also like the showing off part, obviously doesn't make sense to us because, well, we don't see her show off really. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, so I do agree with you. Like the jokes in the trailer miss. I don't know. It's tough to say because it could mean that the movie's going to suck. Which I mean, it's not that it's not a possibility. It very well has a possibility. My whole thing was I wasn't a fan of what we're seeing of Madam Web right this very second.
Yeah.
I also don't like that she's human, and I know I sound weird saying it, but like she's not in my mind. She's not human. She's above that. She's kind of at the same level as the Beyonder. She's a multiversal being.
So again, This is an origin story,
I
something we
know, but even origin stories, like beings still be like their beings are still beings. Like I get it. Maybe we're gonna see her become that at the end of the movie. I guess I don't know. I'm holding my tongue because there's more I want to talk about each character, and then I have an idea of where I think it's going in the MCU. So, um,
well,
well, because I have my thoughts of where I think it might work.
there's rumors going around which we'll talk about later. So
Yeah.
let's go
So
with the characters and we'll
yeah.
do
So
that.
that anything else on Madam Web? Because I really got nothing else. Oh, I think the other weird thing too was like she picked up that metal thing with ease. I didn't think of
Yes,
her
that
in
was the
super
other thing
strength.
that yeah, the metal thing. So she's got some kind of strength involved.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've never seen her actually like physically do stuff.
Yeah, that was one of the
So,
things. Is like we don't typically see her fight. We just see
but
her.
at the same time, this is an origin story, so she probably would be she would be getting involved more in the beginning. So I do get that piece a little bit, but like just because I've never seen her with physical strength, it just threw me off.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
that's pretty much
agreed.
it on that front. All right, Ezekiel Sims.
Another character that seems like it's getting a slight change. Doesn't seem as drastic so far as
Well, there is
Madam
one
Web.
big drastic change that people are not happy about, and it's his costume.
Yeah, yeah,
In the comics, he never had a costume.
yep. Which
So
I'll be honest isn't exactly the end of the world.
no, I
Um,
do get why they gave him a costume to kind of prove that he's a spider person.
yeah,
But
that's
at the same time, I'm going to sound weird saying this. I'm wondering if when we see him in the suit, it's when Madam Web is having a vision, because in my mind, right? So, and again, take this with a grain of salt. She's having a vision. She doesn't know this guy from a hole in the wall, but you put a spider suit on him, you now have context of who he is.
yeah,
So mentally, that's happening. Because in the comics, I mean, granted, and in the beginning of the trailer, we see him shoeless and in a suit, which is exactly what he's like in the comics.
I don't remember the shoeless part, but
Yeah, he has no shoes on, and the reason for it is because he has to stick to walls, so he doesn't
yeah,
have the shoe thing.
yeah,
Um,
he's got the same powers as Spider-Man, just he's older,
he also doesn't care, so he doesn't
and
hold back.
yeah, but doesn't exactly say he's yeah.
No, but what I'm getting at is so like the when he gets on the train, he's barefoot, and that was a key point in my mind where I was like, okay, they're really trying. And then we get way too many images of him in a suit,
Hmm.
which again, I mean, if they put him in a suit, you're right, it's not the end of the world, but he's never had a suit, so like he realistically that suit looks a lot like um, Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say it
and I and
looks
I and
yeah,
I, like Miguel, like a live action version of Miguel's suit. Now, obviously not to the full extent. It's got
just
its little
darker.
very, but it's got that look of it, and
Yeah.
I think they should have went completely drastically different on that, like something personally, just to kind of get it away from all Spider people.
Hmm.
Like, still prove like, oh, he's got a suit on. He's obviously Spider, like he's a Spider character. But I mean, I don't know. And again, I think I'm being nitpicky, but I also don't know the context, and that's where I'm
It's kind of difficult
nitpick
to
when we don't
it's
know the context.
well, no. What I was gonna say was it's kind of difficult to create a spider suit that has no relation to spider people in general because there's a spider suit for basically everything,
All right,
and
let me rephrase it this way. Like, all right, so not Miles Morales, not Peter Parker, not Gwen Spider, and not Miguel. Like, you can have one different. Like, it could have been a completely different color. It could have been like gray, and I wouldn't have had a problem with it.
I mean, I guess.
I
I
mean,
mean, I just feel like it's tough to create a brand new spider suit at this point because there are so many spider people around that they already have a suit tied to them that if they make one, it's going to have some relation in some way. That's my point.
I just think it looks too much like Miguel's, and that's what bothers me. And because Miguel has
Yeah.
had some big hype lately,
Hmm.
I that's where my issue becomes, and that's just a me
Yeah.
thing. Um, Anything else on Ezekiel Sims? I mean, he's got all the spider powers. It looks like I don't have any issues with that. He looks like he's got the spider sense, although we really don't see that. But he's definitely got the physical strength and everything else.
Yeah,
Um,
no, not really. I
I mean,
mean,
realistically, my only complaint about his character is his suit. As of right now, nothing else seems to bother me. And his backstory looks and sounds very similar to the comics, minus Madam Web's mother being involved.
I
And again,
mean, yeah.
that's just goes for the movie. Like his backstory sounds very similar to the comics, um, so that doesn't bother me either. He seems, as of right now, his character seems the most related to the comic book, even though people are saying it's really not, and it's I think it's just because of the suit. But so far, he's looking like he's exactly where he needs to be.
So at the moment, I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember too much context of his coming. I just know that he's coming after them. He's got the powers. I don't remember them going over his backstory too much. Just a little bit like he. I don't know why he's coming after us.
All
I
right, so
just
I will say this: I don't know why he's going after them. I have my thoughts, but they don't specifically state. But the origin story was talked about with Madam Web saying, "I know him. He used to work with my mom in the Amazon rainforest studying spiders."
okay. Yep. Okay, I
And
remember
so,
that now.
like that little tidbit is very similar to the comics, minus Madam Web's mother being involved.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. Yep. Okay.
Um,
Now I remember. Thank you.
yeah, no
Um.
problem. It was one of the things where again it was a very brief because it's a trailer.
Yep.
We don't know the full context of what's going on. I have my thoughts on why he's going after them, but we're going to talk about that a little later. And let's talk about the Spider Women. So I got them in order. I got their names and everything. I came prepared.
Wow.
All right, nobody asked you. All right, so Julia Carpenter. So Julia Carpenter is the second Spider Woman after Jessica Drew. She's the. I'm sorry. Hold on. So in the comics, after experimental procedure involving a mix of spider venom and exotic plants, Julia gained spider-like abilities. Now that was in the comics. Obviously, this might be different here. So she's the second Spider Woman, and she looks very similar to the Spider Woman in Across the Spider Verse.
Which Spider Woman?
The one that the one that was on the
The one that
motorcycle.
the one that was pregnant.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
And I believe that's supposed to be the same one. Although I believe in the movie they called that one Jessica or Jess.
Is
But
that
it
the one
doesn't
that's she's the one that's played by what's her name?
like in what movie? In which one? Are you talking about in
No,
Madam Web?
I'm talking about in Madam Web trailer. Sydney Sweeney.
No, Sydney Sweeney is Madam Web.
No,
No? Hold
no,
on.
no.
And of course they don't put the friggin' actor's name on this. Hold on. You keep talking about Spider Woman for a second and I'll be right back.
All right. Well, I mean, Spider Woman. She's got spider powers.
I really do.
She's so the one you're talking about is the one that's in the black suit, correct?
Oh no, you're right. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, it
Okay.
is Sydney Sweeney.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm glad we clarified that. Okay. Um,
It just throws me off because she looks so different in the movie. So like her actor's face is different.
yeah.
Like
That.
you know what I'm talking about. Like her
Yeah.
portraying herself as herself, and then her portraying the character. The hairstyle and everything else is just different. It threw me off. Um, so
I mean,
anyway,
I guess that makes a good disguise.
well, no, I because none of them looked other than Madam Web. None of them looked like what they look like in the movie, and I was just like, wait a minute, and then I was like, oh no, that's her. Um, so yeah, she's supposed to be Spider Woman. So we see her with the Spider Venom. So like the Venom shock
Yep.
in the trailer, but she does it with two hands. That doesn't bother me because and again, it's in flashback slash future sight slash potentially alternate universes.
there's a lot going on in this trailer that shows a lot and yet not too much at the same time. Like they
It
don't show
shows
too
us a
much.
lot, but no context, so we have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, they showed a lot. They showed no context, but mainly plot focused. Like it was weird. Like they didn't show too much with characters, but they showed more of what we assume is mostly the story. But
I
like,
I agree with you, but at the same so yes, I agree with you. Like for all of us that don't know what's going on, and myself included, that easily could be the entire plot of the movie, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I'm
mhm.
hoping it's not.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
really
yeah,
hoping
yeah.
it's not. But it's making it look like it's all like it's the entire plot altogether. Now we know very little about these Spider Girls,
Mhm.
um, in general, so these are probably going to be just quick little talks about, in the sense of like because we really don't see much of them, and we only see them in their like really interact in their non-Spider alternate.
Yeah. I mean, that's really all we got for the first Spider Woman because
Yep.
I mean, we don't know. We see her in the black suit. We
Yep.
see a little bit of her power. Otherwise, like we
So
just don't have much on her right now.
So the next one is Maddie Franklin, and she was the third character to assume the Spider Woman alias in the comics. So in the comics, Franklin soon overhears a phone call between her father and Norman Osborn about the gathering of the Five, and eventually takes in part and receives spider powers because of it. She then becomes Spider Woman and dons an identical costume to Spider Man after Spider Man temporarily retires and continues her heroics even after he comes out of retirement. So even though she goes by the name Spider Woman, she is more of a Spider Man, because her costume is legitimately just a carbon copy of Peter Parker's suit.
I mean,
Now, if I
if you
remember, I don't
show,
think we saw a suit that looked like Peter Parker's.
I do not remember seeing a suit that much. So like,
The two looked there was two that looked very similar, which I'm assuming are the two Spider Womans.
yeah,
Which that doesn't really bother me all that much, to be honest with you, because if they're supposed to be, and again, I'm going to talk more in a minute about it. If that doesn't bother me too much, but I didn't get the feel of Spider Woman in the sense of like Venom wise, meaning like. Because when I think of Spider Woman, I think of like the Venom shocks and everything else. So she must be more. Her powers must be similar to Spider Man than
mhm.
Spider Woman.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Just the costume is a little bit
Yeah, the
not where
cost
we expect it to be.
correct. And again, we didn't realistically. They can change the costume,
Yeah,
like
I mean, the
meaning like it
costume
does.
isn't the con. The, I mean,
None of the costumes are like stuck in stone because they're CGI'd. It looks like so it doesn't. It looks like they can easily change the colors.
yeah,
The final one is, and I hope I'm saying this right, Anna Corazon. She is in comics known as Spider Girl. In the comics, she received her powers by being endowed with spider-related blood and magic by Miguel after he bonds with her following a near-death experience. She then becomes a superhero, and she initially partners with Miguel and later joins forces with other heroes like Spider-Man and the Champions.
oh wow, okay, she's got a lot.
Yeah. So again, I think her costume was the one that had the legs.
Yeah, I was gonna say her
I think
gimmick seems to be more techie.
I agree, which would make sense because she's supposed to be in the year 2099,
Oh,
or
okay, which
or
is
sorry,
with Miguel.
sorry,
No,
no, I was right,
yeah,
2999. Yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah,
Miguel.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I had this pause for a second because I wasn't sure if I said it right, but the so yeah, so we have that, and her costume that we see matches that kind of ideology.
Hmm.
Now, obviously, they're all in the same timeline. Um, for right this second, here's my thought process on this. I think because there's the rumor that Sony and Disney are teaming up during this saga for the multiverse.
Okay,
Because the rumor was that all of the Sonyverse is going to be into Spider Man's universe, Tom Holland's, at some point.
okay,
So the idea I have, and this is where I'm thinking, because a lot of these characters that they've introduced, minus Ezekiel, have been heavily involved in Secret Wars.
Which would make sense because the villain kind of would be its own thing, and they're just introducing the characters to bring into Secret Wars.
So, Spider Woman, Spider Girl, Spider Woman, Madam Web were all involved in Secret Wars to a certain degree.
Hmm.
In different renditions of it and everything else, they've all existed in it. So, my thought process is this is an alternate universe, right? And they're now realizing that there is a multiverse. And I think what Madam Web is seeing is the multiverse. Ezekiel has been hired to remove these threats because they have the potential of being spider people. Now, I'm not 100% sure why for that piece, but I think at the end of this movie, we're going to find out that Madam Web realizes that those three that she was trying to protect do not actually become the spider people. They are alternate versions of the people she's actually seeing. And she later then ascends into the multiverse.
Okay.
Because, and here's my thought process on this. My thought process on this is because this is going to be a taste of us going towards, because Madam Web and the Beyonder, I think, are banging. So the two of them, because we haven't been introduced to the Beyonder yet. The Beyonder is a key component in the Secret Wars, along with Kang at one point, also Doctor Doom. You know what I mean? So like all these characters, and Kang's out. So we have the Beyonder now. We also have Doom that's
Not yet.
supposedly coming out. Supposedly coming out. Bear with me. So we have the Beyonder versus Doom potentially. How do you get the Beyonder in? You have Madam Web. You know what I'm saying? Like again,
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but it's the only thing that logically makes sense to me, and I know what logic is sometimes with Sony. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's valid,
No,
unfortunately. But
definitely.
I think Disney's kind of trying to help out a little bit more, but at the same time not. So like the non ones that they are fully sharing, they're trying to be a little bit has like hands offish. But I think they're gonna want to bring some of those characters in for like their big projects and just to have like the kind of tie-in stuff. So that's why I'm thinking I'm thinking those actresses might play those characters, but though in this movie they're not actually those characters. Like they are those people, they are their names,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
but in this
But they're not
universe,
the
they were
ones.
never going to be spider people.
Okay. I mean, hey, that would be interesting. That's for sure.
That's where I'm thinking, and I think Madam Web is then going to go into the multiverse, and then we're going to see her tie into something else, whether it's with Loki or with Into the Spider Verse or Beyond the Spider Verse. We're going to see some sort of tie in there, and I'm not 100% sure which one.
So this is where our intel has differed apparently, because from what I've seen, the most recent rumor that's been coming around is that Madam Web is tied to nothing. It is a standalone movie inside its own universe. The original thought was that it is tied to Venom, which, like you said, was going to be with Andrew Garfield. But now the rumor is that it's a standalone movie, no relation to anything else, and it's going to and it possibly the Venom verse is going to be connected, like you said, more towards Tom Holland. But the newest thing that I've seen is that Madam Web isn't related to anything.
So okay, so I'm not. I might have misinterpreted what I read because I saw that it was tied to the Venomverse, and then it was they didn't. So this is where it kills me. I didn't take it that it's 100% not related anymore. I took it as they took out all of the like like oh my gosh, they took out everything that's like relevant to like the Amazing Spider-Man verse and stuff like that because apparently they had a lot of like and again, this is just rumors. I don't know how true this was, but apparently they had a lot of Andrew Garfield esque like Easter eggs in there, along with Venom Easter eggs as well, and they were all removed.
Okay.
So I took it differently than you. That being said, you might be right. I'm hoping I'm right. No offense.
I
Uh,
agree with you.
but if that be the case, then I feel like this is going to be a horrible movie.
Yeah. That's why like I'm seeing this movie
Yeah.
turning
So
like we don't know until we see the movie. We don't know
I'm still
until
going
they
to see it. I
officially
mean,
confirm it.
no issue there. I'm definitely going to still see it. There's not going to like. There's no way I'm not going to see it. It's just more of the fact of like I'm a little disappointed because if that is the case, then what was the point of even doing the movie? In my opinion, like Madam Web is not a great character to do on her own unless you're going to build her up into something.
I agreed.
And
Um,
maybe there's Madam Web fans out there that's like, no, she can be a great. No, she's always been like a guidance. In
yeah,
like my mind, she's always been a guider. Like, hey, come with me, and you'll see.
like there's no point in having Madam Web without Spider-Man because
Yes,
like they're
and I don't even
tied
care which
together.
one. I don't even give a. I don't even care which one. It could be a Spider Woman. I do not care, but it's got to be somebody. And the argument is, well, she technically is in this movie. It's like, yeah, but no.
The other thing I don't know if you've seen this is the EMT in the movie that you say that like her partner. Apparently, that's supposed to be Ben Parker,
Yeah, no.
which
It's confirmed that it's Ben Parker. So, all right. Let me rephrase it this way. In IMDb, and I'm gonna say it like this: they show the actor who's playing it, and it says Ben Parker as his character name. Which throws me off a little bit because it's like, well, then that leads to a Spider-Man. So there is a well, that's my whole thing. And like I said, I am fine. Well, actually, they would make more sense that it's Tom Holland's because he's the only Ben Parker we've never seen. Yeah, didn't we? Okay. Um, we're Ben Parker. All right. I think it was a quick thing, but we are going to take a quick pause for a second. Um, we are back from our commercial break. So we are now going to be moving on right into Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So let's talk about the trailer first. The big thing for me was the first trailer was the big one, which was, in my opinion, the big reveal. In the sense of like we kind of get to see the main four characters, which is Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, King Shark, and Harley Quinn. I don't know why I paused for a second. I apologize. And they're pretty much just BSing Amanda Waller because Amanda Waller wants them to kill the target, but she hasn't told them who the target is.
yep, it's a
Which,
total mystery. They just got dropped in Metropolis, and they know that they have to go kill someone.
well, they know that Brainiac is taking over because they see all the Brainiac robots, and I
Yeah,
believe at one point they do shoot a couple of them in the
yeah,
trailer.
they're fighting people.
But they're really
While
not
they're
doing a lot.
yeah, they're just
They're kind of relaxing. Realistically, they're relaxing. I know it
they're
sounds so
enjoying
simple.
themselves. Well,
Yes, 100%.
well, let's put it like this. Let's put it in retrospect. Harley is enjoying themselves. Everyone else is kind of just like,
Yeah, absolutely. And so that was the kind of the big thing there. So, um, they then figure out who their target is because there's a massive man floating above them.
and they are not happy.
No, and then I think the funniest part of the whole thing is Captain Boomerang comes out from what I'm assuming is taking a piss. And he comes back. He's like, "Hey, do we know who the target is yet?" And they just all point. And he looks up and he swears, but it's cut off before he swears. And then it's Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
hmm
And that
Yeah.
was the first trailer. Then I only saw one other trailer after that, which was the Flash trailer, and we kind of saw a little bit of Lex Luthor.
Yeah, there was a Flash trailer. It showed a little bit more characters, I believe, but
I
not
only
really.
I only so I'm not so I think we saw Amanda Waller in the trailer. We knew she was going to be in it anyway, so
Hmm.
that wasn't that big of a shock because we heard her in the first trailer.
Yeah.
In this one, we saw. Oh well, technically, okay, yeah. So we have the four main people that we already talked about: Amanda Waller. We have the Flash, Lex Luthor, and then Wonder Woman.
And uh, so I remember seeing in a trailer. I don't remember if this is the same trailer.
That's the
Um,
thing. There were so many different trailers that some of them had just like 30 seconds more. Like it
yeah.
wasn't like a full brand new trailer. It was like a slightly extended trailer.
So this is what really got it talking about how it got connected to the Arkhamverse, because of this is that in one of the trailers that I remember seeing it was the Nightmare Batman from the end of Arkham Knight after he died, which is where it's like, oh, so this is tied to the Arkham series. Oh, this why is Batman alive? Because in the last game he died. Even though like obviously everyone's like, oh, he's not really dead. It was just a ploy because always Batman has contingencies and whatnot. But obviously, because we have not heard anything in however many years since we've seen Batman in the games, we don't know what's happened. We don't know how he survived, if he technically survived. And clearly in this game, because of the trailer, and we've seen footage of him talking and whatever, he has been a part of, he is still alive.
I
Um,
would say this at the very least, he's more Justice League than just Gotham Protector.
oh, yeah.
I think he's
Yeah.
given up the Gotham Protector. Now, I don't want to say that like definitively, but it makes me think based on this because again, we you're right. We don't know time wise where this is. We are assuming this is after Arkham Knight.
Hmm.
Um, and I saw Batman in one trailer, and it was a quick because the thing is, like I said, there's like been multiple trailers and like slightly extended. Like it really hasn't been like a huge difference. I think it was in one of the Flash trailers, to be honest with you, because they showed John Stewart and Batman in one trailer, but
Hmm.
like quick little snippets of them. And the trailer I saw, Batman had a gun. And I know you said you didn't see that. I don't even think you said you've seen Batman, period.
Well, like I said, I saw Nightmare Batman.
Yeah, but you
Not
didn't see like Batman.
correct. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't remember
Yes.
that.
There was one that I saw that was Batman with purple eyes, which pretty much just describes all of the Justice League that's been corrupted by Brainiac. But and I physically saw him, and I physically saw him hold a gun, but like there was no context to it. It was literally like a quick thing where it was kind of like he had it, and he might have taken it from somebody. Like he
Mm.
might not have had it on him, but like there was no context to it. It literally was him like talking for a second and like having it in his hand, but not like really pointing it at anybody.
Mm.
Which just threw me off because Batman with a gun, just like a real gun, confuses me.
I mean, in retrospect, if he's fighting Suicide Squad and they have guns, he could disarm them and take the gun from them and just holding it. But either way, I mean, the trailers are the trailers. We're gonna see what actually happens in the game. Once the game actually comes, we're gonna see the story and all that stuff. So we'll get context with that.
I mean, that's
Uh,
the big thing. I mean, we know very little, but we know a lot at the same time, which is weird to say. Um, so we know like we're going to be facing. There's no way we're not going to be facing Superman. There's no way we're not going to be facing Batman. We know for a fact we're facing Green Lantern and um,
the
the
Flash.
Flash.
Yep. I'm
We're
curious if there's other members in the game as well, because obviously, typically, it's seven
I'm,
members of the Justice League. So I'm curious if we're gonna have others as well.
well, we know that not all of them have been turned.
Yep, because so obviously Wonder Woman in the trailers has not been corrupted yet.
Correct. That doesn't mean she doesn't get corrupted later. I'm also thinking we don't fight Brainiac.
Oh, you don't think so?
Nope. I think that's going to be a DLC. I think it's going to be one of those where it's like kind of like a raid in a DLC.
Okay, that would be interesting.
Um, that's my guess. I could be wrong. I very well could be wrong, but I have a feeling I don't think we're going to be facing. We might be facing like a powerful Brainiac robot, but I don't think we're facing Brainiac. Something's giving me that vibe. Like they're going to save that for later.
Well, the fact that this is a live service game, so they're going to be giving updates. They need to be giving updates in order to keep
Yeah,
it going. So you don't want to put all their everything in one batch.
correct.
So they have to make sure the game is finished, because if they don't have a finished game, they're not going to be making it to any DLC or whatever, any content drop after.
I just
So
thought of something. When
what?
the game gets to a certain point, Brainiac's still on Earth, and they haven't like defeated him yet. Like before the DLC, like the DLC, you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Justice League, just I mean not Justice League, the Suicide Squad like stops it temporarily from like him blowing up the Earth,
Yep.
but like he's still there, trying to take it over. So like that's it might be like a thing where they try to pull so they you keep having to fight Brainiac, like to keep the people playing with
Okay.
it.
So like
You understand what I mean?
they stop one plan, but he keeps coming up with plans to keep the yeah. I mean that could work.
Which is why that's why I lent my idea, and I know I said this earlier to you, on the sense of this gives me Destiny vibes because of that, where it's kind of like, and again, I know you told me like, well, most of these online games are going to feel the same way, and I do get it to a certain point. Um, but it's given me major thoughts of that. And the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, it is. And again, I think you're thinking of what I'm saying is too literal. Like I don't think it's a carbon copy of Destiny.
No, obviously it's two different scenarios. I mean
Correct.
I get that. I understand you're kind of like talking about like the major points where it's like, oh, you're roaming the planet. You're fighting all these minions that are NPCs that are around. Then you have like these mini bosses, and then you're like going through the story, and then eventually you're going to get to the big boss. And like
The big boss
I
of
get that.
this, the big boss of this chapter.
Yeah, which we don't like. Again, we don't know if it's going to be the big boss is going to be Superman or it's going to be Brainiac. Uh,
Batman.
or it could be Batman. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be doing it like that. Batman will be a minor villain, because from the very beginning they were advertising it as Superman as the big bad. So I definitely think that this main game is going to be focused on taking down Superman. Whether or not after Superman gets taken down, we're going to go towards the Brainiac or save it, like you said, for a content drop later. We don't know.
Plot
Uh,
twist: it wasn't even Superman; it was Bizarro. Um,
what's that?
I said plot twist: it wasn't even Superman; it was Bizarro. Um,
Oh.
I'm saying that to be a jerk.
No. I know,
I'm,
but hey,
it's a possibility. But
it
anyway,
is.
no. All joking aside, I do get what you're saying. You're right. But I'm wondering if we're not gonna. I'm thinking Batman might not even be fought against this time. Because hear me out on this, right? Brainiac's intelligent. Who's a better tactician than Brainiac? And I'm saying it. I'm saying it. Who is Michael? Who
Oh,
is it?
you're looking for an actual answer. Batman is the best tactician around.
So why would you waste your technician? You send
Yeah.
out the big guns, aka Superman. Then Superman goes down, and you're like, well, at least I got the tactician.
Oh yeah, no, you mean you're thinking in terms of like how it was with Justice League Apocalypse War, where
Absolutely.
Darkseid corrupted Batman and was literally he was his second in command, basically.
Yeah, and I feel like Batman isn't gonna be. Batman's gonna be somebody that we fight. I would say in like a DLC or like a Chapter 2 type thing. And the reason why I say that is because Brainiac needs him, and I feel like once Batman's taken out, Brainiac's kind of be easier to defeat
I mean, yeah,
to a certain
sure.
degree. Let me phrase it this way: the robots aren't going to be that great. I guess is the best way to put it. Because in gameplay, Batman is controlling the robots more than Brainiac.
Yeah, from what we've seen.
Absolutely. So let's talk about gameplay here. Obviously, it looks like, and I'm not sure how the picking happens. I don't know if you like decide what character you're going to play and then join a lobby, or you join a lobby and then you guys decide who's going to play who.
Uh,
Yeah, there's hesitation there, in there.
so the way I see this is that it's gonna mainly is gonna be one player, you can pick who you want to play. Obviously, it rotates. You can do whoever you want. Each character is going to have certain things that there is to do outside of the main story. If you want to play co-op, then I'm assuming then you just select the character you want, and the character that you are, you search for players who are the other characters.
So every gameplay thing I've seen so far, it's been four separate players.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen anything like that then.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because they make jokes of the characters between themselves on who has the most points,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which is hilarious because it's almost always Boomerang with the lowest amount of points. Um,
of course.
which makes me question, like, he must not be an easy character to use. The other thing too is there's a finite amount of bullets you have. You have to
Yeah.
charge up your abilities, which that should be a shock to anybody.
Yep.
I don't like Harley Quinn's special ability.
You're not a fan of it?
No, it doesn't look like something she could do.
Oh, too out there.
Yeah, like I get it, like it fits her character to a certain degree. Like, oh, it's jackpots, but then she
Mm.
like knocks him out with it. It just doesn't feel like right. Like with King Shark, like it makes sense with his character, and it's something he can physically do. I don't know. Harley Quinn, I felt like it should have been something slightly different. I would have been fine with her throwing bombs,
Mm.
like grenades. Like I would have been okay with that more so than what we got. But again, I don't think it's horrible. It's a minor thing. She needs a super, she gets a super. The other thing too is I think the other thing I could be missing is what Amanda Waller actually gives them before they go out.
Valid.
Because that's a key piece that I don't know. So I'm taking it with a grain of salt right now, only because I don't know what Amanda Waller has done.
Yeah,
Um,
because obviously Amanda Waller doesn't. Oh,
and
even though.
Captain Boomerangs makes sense. He throws a boomerang and it goes around.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean that shouldn't be a shock. I haven't seen Dead Shots. I'm assuming it's got to be some sort of like rapid fire, either wrist rockets or something.
Yeah. A lot of exploding.
That's what I'm thinking, or at least an exploding couple of bullets. But no, he. So I like the idea of everything. I like the movement of everything. Everyone kind of has a jetpack except for King Shark. He kind of floats a little bit. Um,
His super jumps.
he's flying. Oh no, he defies gravity. Sorry, that's what.
But no, the gameplay wise, from the little bit that I've seen,
It looks
I
good.
it looks good. It looks chaotic, which I know is a big issue with people, is the fact that it's not like the Arkham series. It's not smooth. It's not I can't say smooth. It's not slow and precise. It's very chaotic, which is the big difference because in the Arkham series, you're Batman. He controls everything. He controls the scenario. He is very focused, and everything he does leads to something else.
Yep.
Whereas with the Suicide Squad, it's chaos. So this game is literally fits them perfectly. There's chaos. There's things are whack. I know some people have been complaining about the UI with the main screen and how it seems like it's overwhelming. From what I saw, aside from the constant hit markers, it looks pretty clean. Obviously, once we get more into the game, we're gonna see a little bit more. Get more into it, and you know,
And this is not a complaint in the sense of like the game did bad on this. They did a great job with it. It's something for me that's going to suck is the jumping in the sense of like getting it right.
like the
Like
timing, or
like timing, but also jetpack and then floating and then still trying to shoot. Like you could do all that, and it does work. Like I've seen people do it well. Obviously, I
Mhm.
just know that that's not going to work for me.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean,
but again, that's more of a personal thing than an actual like issue with the game. Everything I've seen has been pretty cool. I would say my only thing that I think is kind of weird that I don't like is the way I've seen it. And again, it gives me Destiny vibes, but I think it's just one of those things where it's like I think I would have liked more of like when they do like the capture type thing, that he drops all of his like robots down, and the robots start to come towards him, like towards the control spot. And the way it happens is it comes in waves and he drops right on the spot. And that's just a minor thing for me. And that was also just one capture moment. It wasn't like it was all of them. So like
Mhm.
I really can't like say like, oh, um that's gonna go badly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um but yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I, I actually do say from what I've seen, very enjoyable. It looks like
Yeah.
it's gonna go really well. Um I haven't seen much of the story, and I think they do that on purpose, because they don't want to give spoilers away.
Yep.
I have seen a little bit of the gameplay against Green Lantern, and obviously the Flash.
Yep.
Um,
The real issue with this is how it's going to work with the season pass situation,
I
because
agree.
the Rocksteady has not done that before, and we are getting to a point in gaming where season passes are just becoming
A problem.
a problem. So
Now, is it
hopefully
going to be
they
a season pass, or is it going to be just a DLC?
no, it's a season pass.
Oh, so there are season passes. So okay.
Yes. So you're gonna level up. You're gonna unlock things. So this is new territory. So they have to do it right, and what they drop it initially has to be good, and it has to be fair. It
It
can't just
has,
be a money grab,
and
because
it has to be something that like is. I would be fine with it being more aesthetic
yeah.
than, because I can't imagine like you can get something in the season pass that's going to help you in the game for it to be fair, because it looks like that would be stupid in my
Well,
opinion.
typically when they have season passes, I mean, most
There's going to
games
be
I know
something, and that's fine.
it's there's a free level and then there's a paid one, so that way people can get stuff and they get the important things no matter what as long as they play. But I mean, it's the season pass is like we just said, it's going to be the questionable thing. So hopefully they don't screw it up, and hopefully they don't do it as a money grabber that it's just blatantly obvious that they just didn't care and they locked everything behind it. I know that's one of the big things that the community is voicing.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's a live service game makes it even more so, because this is if they just got to constantly be giving stuff to
The
get
people
people
who pay.
coming back.
The other thing too is like you brought this up, when we were talking about it earlier, in the sense of like DLC adding characters. I'm gonna be the one to say this. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like that's a weird thing, because then you're gonna have different dynamics, and then the game isn't gonna change. So like, are you gonna have to complete the game as each character? Are you gonna have, you know what I'm saying? Like that adds a whole nother level. Like in Destiny, you could play you could play as all three variants.
Mhm.
Does that mean we would have to play with all four slash many more added?
Well, I mean, if they add characters and change and it creates a different story and different gameplay, then technically why not? Because then it's adding replayability. You know.
But no, I think what I'm getting at is it's like then that changes my idea. Like when you start a game, it's gonna be like you're gonna have to save. You have a save data for each character.
So when I said adding characters, from what I've seen it, or from the rumor going around, it's like they're adding characters for like future story missions. It's not going to be like going
Playable,
back. Yeah, like I had said earlier, is that there's hints that Joker is going to be in it. So
but as a playable character though.
no, I don't think playable character
Oh,
just
all right. So I'm fine with them adding more characters in the sense of like for more stories.
yeah.
Fine. I thought when you said adding characters, like we were gonna have the the light twins. Um, we were gonna have. I'm trying to think of who else. The light twins.
Killer Frost is
Killer
the
Frost. Thank you. That's a good one.
Killer Croc. I mean, this kind of stuff, like I don't think that's going to be more possible, because
Diablo.
yeah, because that just changes the whole coding for the game, and sent like they focus the main game on those four characters. Then
Okay,
down the
I'm fine
road
with
they
that
add
then.
another character.
Then I'm
The
fine with that.
only way that would maybe work is if they do it as like a skin, and it change like they can change the character a little bit. It's still the same, but but
No, I'm
I
not a
mean
fan.
that I feel like that's a lot of work.
I feel like
Could be
that's
done,
and
but I'm not a
it's
game
also a
developer.
cop out. No, so I misunderstood you. When you said new character, I was expecting like playable character. No, I'm fine with them adding more to the story because I'm assuming they're going to. And they have the
Yes.
entire DC universe at their disposal. I mean,
Hmm.
we can have Trigon, we can have Darkseid. We have these heavy hitters. Manixnix. Manix.
Don't. We're not gonna try his name. We're not gonna try it.
Hold on, let me say it backwards. See if I get teleported to the fourth dimension. Um, can't say it forwards. How can I say it backwards? Um, yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like nothing I've seen. Oh, Doomsday. Nothing I've seen.
You're naming characters that the Suicide Squad would just get squashed.
Brainiac. Hello.
Oh wait, between Darkseid and Doomsday, I think Brainiac's a little bit more controllable.
Hear me out though. You have his army though. They can fight his army.
All right, his army, yeah,
Oh! All of a sudden it's fine now.
yeah.
The
Well,
Doomsday.
your
All right,
name
so the Doomsday, I admit, go on.
Doomsday. There is no army. He is the army.
I know. That's why I said what I said. I get it. We're done. But you get my point I'm making. I'm just thinking of like Doomsday would. I mean, Darkseid would make sense because
Darkseid with an army, yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Trigon is a little bit less, a little bit more out there because
I
he normally.
disagree. He has an army of demons. You've never seen what he's come up with. He's got 7 kids.
Oh no, I mean I get that. I mean, yeah, yeah.
7 kids, kill them all. Um, but yeah, no. All joking aside, like I do think this game is going to go well. I think it's personally, I think it's going to be a lot of people are going to hate it in the beginning. Either they're going to hate it in the beginning or they're going to hate when the story is over and they have to wait for the DLC. I'm thinking it's one of the two. It's
Mm,
either going to be, and there's going to be no in between. Like they're either, if they're going to love it, they're going to love it right from the get go. And the
yeah,
moment we have to wait for a season pass or we have to wait until the next DLC, people are going to be like, this game is stupid. There's no, because based on what I've seen, it doesn't look like it's a game that can continue after the story is done.
that's the thing about live service games is that they have to have constant drops, otherwise the game will get boring, and that's what's going to have the player base dropping.
And there's also got to be like PvP and stuff like that, and that doesn't make sense for this game, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I bet you could figure something out if they really want to, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be happening. I think it's just more mainly story based. Um, like I said, they just have to have a way to keep players continuing playing, things to complete. Like Riddler's in the game, so obviously there's going to be riddles to go find. Uh,
Which I thought was funny. I was watching more of it. So we have Amanda Waller, we have the Suicide Squad, we have Hack, which you don't know who that is, neither do I. We have Toy Man, we have Lex Luthor, we have
Poison
the
Ivy,
Poison Ivy. Aaron Cash is in it.
Aaron Cash.
He's a
Blanking on that.
he's a cop. He's a GCPD.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh really? Okay.
He gives the Suicide Squad um, supply drops.
Oh, okay. That's clever.
Well, and the only reason I was watching it, and all of a sudden I'm like, why does that voice sound familiar? And I'm looking and it says Aaron Cash. I went, you got to be kidding me. So, I mean, there's a lot of ties in here. I feel like they're going to have a lot of like voice actors like talking about characters that aren't actually on screen, which I don't have a problem with.
Which happens in the Arkham series. So
100%. That's happened a lot. I, I, I think, I think this is gonna like they're gonna open the door to expand this universe in a way that I think is going to go well, but they just have to do it right. And I know it's like, well,
mhm.
obviously they have to do it right, but like if like they can easily screw it up, but they have so much to work on, meaning like
Yeah.
they have so much to work off of, I should say,
Hmm.
that like their possibilities are, in my opinion, endless.
No, I mean, there's a lot that they could keep going with to add stories to it. It's just like I said, they can't do have the main game drop and then 3 months later is going to be the first live service drop. They can't do that because then people are
I
going to beat
was
the
the
game.
only way that that would make sense to me that they could do that is if they added something to the game, or like when you completed the game, a new mode was open where it was kind of like either a free play or a PvP or something along those lines, where it was kind of like as like filler. Like,
Like
because
I said,
once
they
you
they
can do
need
it until you
something.
wait, but it's
Yeah,
not like an actual drop. Like it's already in the game, but it's like
no, that's what I mean.
you
Like
got to
they need
complete the
something to
game before
they
you're
need
allowed to
something
play
to keep
this.
people playing. Because if they
No,
don't have something to
absolutely,
keep people playing, it's
absolutely.
going to fail.
No,
That is the big issue with
that
live
was one of the
service.
big issues with Destiny. They
Yep.
they got to a point where and again, it got better at certain points too. Like it came back to life, and then it
Yeah.
dropped again. It's one
Hmm.
of those things where it's like it can be done, but can it be sustainably done?
Yeah.
And like, that's the big thing here. Interested overall. I'm definitely gonna play this game at some point, for sure. I'm not gonna be getting it day one. That's for sure. Um, I'm I'm interested in the game in general.
Hmm.
Definitely looking forward to it in general. I just I don't I know I sound weird saying it, but like everything I've seen so far works for the characters.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, I think it has great potential. I think it's very interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I am a little nervous because I know there was a lot of negativity at first. So it's a like I said, it's
true.
the
But from
first
what I
thing for Rocksteady.
and I know we've talked about this too, but the gameplay made me feel a little bit better. Like okay, because we saw a little bit of some stuff and it was very like crazy.
Hmm.
Like the very beginning, like I think
Yep.
it was like, and then this one is less chaotic in my opinion, or maybe it's not less chaotic. Maybe it's just more planned out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have the answer because I think what we saw in like the first like sneak peeks, it was kind of like on one building and you were kind of flying around and everything else. Where
Yeah.
in the new gameplay trailers is like you could go anywhere,
Yeah.
and I think to me anyway, that makes me feel a little bit better that it's confined to a certain degree. Like the mission is confined, but like you're not confined. You
Hmm.
need to get away for a second. You're losing track of shit, or you need a chance to heal up, or whatever it may be. You could do that, and I think that's kind of cool. And I like the idea that there's obviously we know that there's going to be side missions because we at least have the Riddler.
Yep. Riddler, Poison Ivy. So all those characters are
Well,
going
Poison Ivy,
to.
I think, isn't a side mission. I think that's part of the main story
Oh, okay. Yeah.
because the way they made it seem. And again, this was in the gameplay that I saw. That does not
Yep.
mean this is accurate.
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
It sounds like her plants were going to help grow to the point to take over, so Brainiac couldn't take over. Now, again, Poison Ivy had her own thoughts on what to do,
Obviously. Yeah.
um, but I think there's also a device in her head that's kind of making it so she can't do what she fully wants to do.
Hmm.
I'm not saying who did it. I'm just saying that there's somebody by the name of Amanda Waller that might be involved.
We'll have to see what happens. Obviously, time will tell. The game
Yeah.
comes out next month.
And it comes out the second, which I believe is the first Thursday of the month.
Oh wow, that's 2 weeks.
Oh, I'm sorry, I lied to you. It's actually well, technically, it's not this Friday. Next Friday.
Wow, a lot sooner than I was expecting.
Um, they were very secretive about this too. Like the gameplay came out late. Um,
Yeah, which is
but
always a big bad sign.
concern. It's a concern. It's always
Yeah.
a concern.
Yeah.
But the little they showed us in the beginning, like in the very very beginning, they've gotten better with it at the very least. It's definitely a lot better than what it was originally, or at
Yeah,
least what we
no,
saw originally.
yeah. From what we saw a year ago, it definitely looks a lot better.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
think the
whether it's going to
pushback.
be.
I think the pushback was for the better
Yeah,
from what I've seen. That does not mean I'm 100% accurate on that, but it's looking like that.
no, I
We'll have
mean
to
it.
see.
It does. I mean, it's just whether or not they connected the dots.
All right, before we move on to your character spotlight, who is the character you're going to play the most?
I think at the moment it
Now
would
I know this
probably.
can change. Now I know this can change. I'm talking about from what you know right now. Where
Yep.
are you going with this?
I think probably at the moment it would probably be either King Shot or the King Shark or Deadshot. You were hoping I was going to say Harley Quinn?
No, I was hoping you wouldn't say King Shark because that's who I want to play as. Um, so mine is actually King Shark and surprisingly enough, Captain Boomerang.
Oh, really?
Nothing against Deadshot and Harley Quinn. I just think he's the butt of the jokes, and I
Mhm.
feel like based on how I play games, it's fitting.
It'll be fitting.
It'll be fitting, but it'll also be like my gameplay, like the way I play, will fit his character.
Oh, God.
I'm
Ugh.
just saying. I'm just saying. Going out on his own, throwing boomerangs and missing.
Ending up dead.
I
Guys, I
mean,
need help.
yeah, guys, I can't. Guys, I can handle this. No, guys, I can't handle this. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, that's 100% me. Um, but yeah, no, definitely King Shark because I feel like I would be better as like the brawler because I
Mhm.
don't think I'm gonna be as good as a shooter personally. Um, and nothing against, like I said, nothing against Harley Quinn and Deadshot. I feel like Deadshot focuses way too much on accuracy,
Yeah.
something I'm not good at. And then Harley
You
Quinn,
know what's really annoying about this is that you say that you're bad at accuracy, but yet for some reason you con us. And whenever we played these, like when we were playing Halo and we were playing like Duck Hunt or these sniper games, you're like, "Oh, I'm so bad at sniping."
and
All of a
normally
sudden
I am, but
but
apparently
for some stupid reason, and when we went out and did skeet shooting, all of a sudden you don't miss any shots. Like you're just a big con.
all right. I will say this. I think it's one of those things where when I have a calm mind. So like when we were doing Halo, I didn't have to worry about anybody coming after me technically. Like yeah, you'd have to get through the whole maze and everything else to get me, but blah blah blah. But I mean like I had the chance to like be calm and everything else. Where if you've noticed like with Call of Duty and games like that where I have to move around a
Mm,
lot, I don't do well in.
that's fair.
Okay? Now, do I agree with you that like given the chance can I do really well? Yes. Could I possibly be a
Do I
great
agree with you
headshot?
that I'm conning you? Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say conning because I feel like I don't have the confidence to con. But I do think I am better than how I perceive myself. Yes, um, to a certain degree, but not like by leagues, by no mean. Uh,
No, no, no.
but yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. That maybe who knows? Maybe Deadshot would be my favorite. I don't know.
We have to
Or
see.
I mean, I'm saying based on what I've seen, that's what I'm going with. But until
Yeah.
we play it, I mean, for all you know, you might love Captain Boomerang,
Oh, you're right.
and
We
maybe
have to
who
see
knows?
once I play
Maybe
these
I'll love
characters.
Deadshot, and maybe I'll hate King Shark. I don't know. It's going to be basically how the combos work and everything else, and
Mhm.
also ammo situation is another factor. Is the ammo the same for all characters? Do they need different types of ammo?
I feel like they're gonna, I feel like there's gonna be like certain things where it comes to ammo, like the main guns are gonna be the same, and then like if you want specialty done, it's gonna be like regular ammo, specialty ammo, and then whatever else. I don't think it's gonna be too crazy, but it's gonna be determined.
I think it's going to be very similar to. It's going to be very similar to like when we were watching when we play Destiny, where
Yeah,
it's like you kill the enemies, and then based on the enemies you've destroyed is the type of ammo you get.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
you're always going to have some sort like you'll have different. I think you're going to have multiple types of weapons. That's what it's looking like. At least
Hmm.
another type. So if you run out of one, you have a backup, and like so
Yeah.
you have a common and a non-common or whatever you want to call it. And I feel like we're going to see that. But other than that, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. So let us move on to your character spotlight.
Okay. I thought you were gonna do more of a lead way.
No, because I
Um.
don't know what the character spotlight is this time.
So this character is someone that you do know. It
Yeah, but you didn't tell
is
me.
what?
I said, yeah, but you didn't tell me. So it's not like I knew who it was before speaking.
When do I ever tell you who my character spotlight is?
I don't know. I feel like you have, but maybe you haven't. I don't know. I don't listen to you really.
I mean, valid, but no, I've never tell you my character spotlight.
All right. Well,
Uh,
then I know this person, so I can't wait.
so this character, what happens when years go by and we get into the future. What happens when Superman loses everyone that he loves and he decides to go into self-isolation? He decides to leave planet Earth and go travel the galaxy, trying to find a new purpose to fill the void of losing his family, because being from Kryptonian descent, he just outlives everybody else.
All right, can I stop you right there for a second? So this is a question I have. Does he only live that long because he's getting a different sun? Meaning like a different like sun radiation? Or does his like if he was still on Krypton, would he be dead?
So if he, so if he's on Krypton and he has the red sun, he's basically just a regular person.
So he ages regularly.
He ages regularly, but because he is encountering our sun, it
He's
is
able to live
enhancing his
longer.
powers.
Okay, sorry. I wanted clarification on that because he does age, but he doesn't based on the sun, based on the solar radiation he has.
Yes. So our sun basically just gives him life. So that's
So
why
does a blue sun.
What?
A blue sun also does too.
A blue sun, yeah. Well, the more powerful the sun, like our sun is like a blue sun is more powerful than a yellow sun
because it's a newer sun.
Yeah,
a red sun is older.
Yeah, red sun is weaker. So in this universe, Superman Prime of Earth Prime, after losing Lois, decides that he cannot go on living because he just is seeing everyone he loves die because he ages at a much slower rate. He travels the galaxy looking for purpose, training, gaining knowledge. Eventually, he decides to return back to Earth, or to our solar system. Not come to Earth, but he decides to go live in the sun and absorb all of its powers.
I do know this one. Okay.
For 800 centuries.
Why don't you just say 800? Oh, wait, hold on. 80,000 years. No. 800,000?
Okay, so we are in the 21st century.
Yeah, I'm aware.
When Earth Prime takes place, or this Superman Prime, when he returns to Earth, it is now the 853rd century.
Okay. I gotcha now. I now understand.
So, I don't remember the exact years, but it's definitely,
everyone we know is dead.
Everyone he knows is dead. So,
everyone we know is dead.
So, the origins of this character. The legend began in the last years of the second millennia with the birth of Not in This Earth. Kal-El is born on Krypton, the sole survivor of his planet that was sent to another planet. He ends up arriving. Martha and Jonathan Kent find him, raise him. He becomes Superman. Just like regular Superman, he has his normal powers. He is Superman. But after the death of his family, he travels, trains, returns, and he decides that to make his return once he has felt that the world needs him once again. This comes when a non-sentient sun invades the solar system, and his name is Solaris. Or a sentient sun. Sorry, sentient sun.
Now I got it. Sorry. No, continue. I got confused.
A sentient sun named Solaris arrives in the solar system, threatening to destroy the universe, particularly because he is hunting down Superman Prime. The Green Lantern Corps tries to stop it. They are unsuccessful. This Superman Prime, because he has found his inner Zen, and has an immeasurable power from sitting in our sun for 800 centuries, he acquires the Green Lantern ring. With this ring, yep, with this ring, he becomes even more powerful and is able to stop the living sun from destroying the world. He then returns to Earth after defeating the sun and meets the descendants of his former life. Apparently, there is a young Superman whose name is Cal Kent, who has the similar powers of Superman. And the twist on this is that in this universe, Superman Prime not only has his own powers, and not only has the powers enhanced from living in the sun for so long, he has the ability to channel the powers of all of his descendants. So, all from Superman to 800 centuries later, he can gain their powers. So Clark Kent now also has his powers and the powers of every single Superman that came after him. Strange, right?
It would make more sense that the descendant has all those powers than the ancestor.
But my take is because he is still alive, he can access those powers. It's like a neural net.
All right, fair enough. No.
So,
You know what? You got a point there because they're all dead.
yeah.
No. You got a point there. In my mind, I'm like, he's the ancestor. That doesn't make any sense. And then you make a good point that it's like, yeah. I got you. Sorry, continue.
So, the time he spent in the sun magnified his already great power to presumably infinite levels. His
Right.
strength and other countless abilities he gained also rose to unknown levels from the time spent in the sun. In the aftermath of Solaris' destruction, a lot was revealed about Superman Prime's hibernation in the Supersun. During this period, he had been waiting for Solaris to make an attempt on his life because he had foreknowledge of the events thanks to his time traveling as his younger self. He knew about the DNA sample that was in Solaris' core, and with the help of Lixim Pix, whatever, otherwise known as the Superman from the fifth dimension, he had used their knowledge, and after the defeat and the Prime, he ended up using their abilities to resurrect his Lois Lane. After what seemed like to him as an eternity, he had retreated into the sun to await her return, and now a silver Lois Lane and a golden Superman Prime were reunited. In all the time since her death, life had little meaning or warmth to him, but now Superman felt complete once more. Hey, he's gotta have a happy ending, man. So
why was she silver?
Why is Superman gold?
Because he was in the sun.
She was resurrected.
Oh, so everyone who comes back resurrected is silver?
Ghosts are white. Why not make them silver?
So is she like her young self, or is she like old?
I actually did not look into that. So my guess is that because he's able to resurrect her, he could resurrect her as he sees fit. So my guess is he brought her back as younger self.
So does she have like powers, or is she just like a regular human that's silver?
I didn't go into that. I figured
that'll be another character spotlight. That'll be another character spotlight.
I honestly kind of felt that like it could be another character spotlight. If you want, I could do a quick research.
No. That's fine. You're getting away with it because you're teasing it for later.
Now this could all be total wash, and she could not be anything special, and I could just be next episode I'll just come and be like, hey, by the way. But I'll be honest, I didn't look into it because I figured if Silver Lois Lane maybe has some kind of powers. I could look into it as a future character spotlight.
Fair enough.
But Superman Prime, powers and abilities, typical stuff. Kryptonian physiology. He is under his yellow sun, super strength, super strong, solar energy absorption. Please don't make those faces. It's bad enough I have to look at you. Those faces just make it worse. Don't worry. You have a face only a mother can love. No comment.
No, I just shook my head. No, I have a face for radio. Continue.
Yep, solar energy absorption, heat vision, just like normal, super hearing, just like normal, enhanced vision, so he can see far away without.
Which wasn't that a normal thing anyway?
Yep. All these are normal. I think this one is a little bit different. He has electromagnetic vision, so he can see on different spectrums. I do not believe regular Superman has that ability, but I could be wrong.
I'll say this. I think he's had that ability at times. I don't think it's something he's like been able to sustain.
Okay, yeah, I can give you that. I'll give you that.
Because I do believe like there's been a few renditions of him where he's been able to do something like that, but I don't think it's been something that was like permanent.
So in this, it's he can see and identify the different the different spectrums. So,
so yeah, definitely completely different. Okay, yeah.
So he also has telescopic vision, which is normal. He can see things really small. He has X-ray vision, microscopic vision, which is the same thing. Infrared vision. He has flight, invulnerability, superhuman stamina, strength, speed, super breath, and of course his longevity. So solar super recharge. Superman Prime remained in Earth's sun for 15,000 years, increasing his ability to unknown but presumably immeasurable levels. He is known to dwarf the might of even the massive, powerful Kal Kent, who himself is more powerful than the gravitational pull of a collapsing star, and is multiple times faster than the speed of light. So this Superman is even more powerful than that Superman.
Yeah.
Power bequeathment, which is Superman is noted as being capable of sharing a portion of his power with his descendants. This fraction alone itself being a degree of power far beyond any held by any metahuman ever. Immortality, of course, because in this rendition, this could just be from living in the sun and him constantly healing, but he had not aged from the 21st century to the 853rd century. But again, he can age but because he is living in the sun, it is sustaining his life. And of course, classic Superman, he has immeasurable willpower. So that is why he was able to get the Green Lantern ring. He never loses his will. There's one weakness that he has, and this is that Superman's Prime past self was noted as being unable to connect to the HeadNet, which is in the 853rd century, it is a transgalactic information system that unites inhabitants all over the universe. Because Superman is technically from the 21st century, his brain is not able to connect with the modern communication system. So this would basically like overload his mind. So unless he is able to adapt, it would just basically melt his mind. So that is technically, out of all of Superman strengths, that is his only weakness.
So is that like his kryptonite right now?
Yeah, that would be his kryptonite until he can figure out.
Just like with kryptonite.
Yeah, pretty much. Until he can, that one is kind of a bit tougher because, his mind is his mind.
Well, absolutely. I think it's just one of those things where it's just funny the way you say it, because it's like, he's like, well, kind of, until he like gets over it. And it's like, well, he's kind of gotten over kryptonite too.
It's true.
So, I agree with you, yes, but it's like this, Superman Prime's version of kryptonite is not even kryptonite. It's literally the communication system.
Yeah. So I know that this was talked about in a past death battle, not most recent death battle of Goku versus Superman.
Yes.
And I thought it would be cool to dive a little bit more into it and see like just his power levels and what he has done. And I can understand why that this Superman could destroy Goku.
I even without knowing him as well as I did, I wasn't surprised because the idea of Superman sitting in the sun for any amount of time, in my opinion, would be enough.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was for 800 centuries,
Yeah.
yeah,
15,000 years. And in the death battle, this Superman has been, showed as being able to travel through multiverse with ease. So I
yeah,
mean, it makes sense that his power level is immeasurable.
it's understandable. I do get that. It's because, and it's weird to say that it's unmeasurable because I hate that phrasing. It is measurable to a certain degree. We don't have any fathomable idea of how to measure it. I know I sound
Yeah,
weird to say it, but it's like he does. There's no way he doesn't have a limit. He does have a limit, just like everyone
he,
else. He has a limit. I
yeah,
think that limit is so far away from human comprehension that I get it.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure that there is a way that he could be defeated. It's just it has not
Oh,
been
agreed.
discovered yet,
Agreed.
and for all we know, it could never be discovered.
Absolutely.
Uh, so it's Superman is a finicky subject that everyone always talks about because I know you are not a fan of his character. I am personally am a fan of his character, but in certain different degrees because you see Superman as unbeatable, whereas it's more of like
I like
what it.
my renditions of Superman that I do like are the ones where he's part of the Justice League. When it's stories just about himself, I can't. I can't.
It's tough because you have to look at those stories as what he represents versus what
Yeah,
his power is.
I get
I
it.
know you cannot.
I can no, and I admit it. I am 100% able to admit it that it's a me thing, and I get that. For me personally, he was just it was, and it's so weird to say, but like I was always a Batman over Superman kind of guy. It was
Most
Batman,
people
it
usually
was
are.
Spider Man. I mean, there was a stint where, like, when I was really, really young, I liked Superman, but then I found out what Batman was, and I was like, I like him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I get it, but I feel like there's not a lot at stake. Like, Superman is the ex machina of the DC universe.
Mm, yeah. No, I mean, I do get why people don't like him. I mean, I understand it.
But
It's just,
but also too know this. I also understand why people love him.
yeah. It's one of those things where it's like what he has to overcome, what he has to live with, what he. I mean, I know we've talked about it in terms of like it's a little bit different in terms of like going off topic, but it's like Captain America. He's a soldier at a time. How does it feel knowing that you are the last one of your time? Excuse me, alive. That's what it is like for Superman. He has to watch everyone he cares about die, and he has to live with it. And it's whether or not he gives up and just goes and hides in a hole, or he perseveres and works through it. Superman Prime, he set up a system where he could leave the planet, continue learning and growing until he felt it was time for him to return. Same thing with Captain America. I mean, he feels that he has to overcome all these odds and has to learn with himself until he feels it is time that he can finally pass the torch without feeling guilty that he's abandoning everybody. It's different characters, but at the same time, it's still the same concept.
There's been so many renditions of Superman, especially in the MCU. I'm not MCU, sorry, in the Marvel universe. Like, there's so many. There's Sentry. There's Blue Marvel. There's
Yeah.
like they all have the same gimmick. And although the original was Captain America for sure,
Yep.
um, they've done more that are like trying to compete with them, and it's like you really can't compete with the original. I mean, I will say this: Superman is the original for a reason.
Mhm.
He outlasts and does better than all of them. Captain America is different because it's apples and oranges now,
Yeah,
but the new ones like the Sentries, the Blue Marvels, and stuff like that, they're trying to recreate a character that you can't recreate because it doesn't work because the character still exists.
yeah. No, it's like when like DC trying to copy Spider-Man. Like it doesn't work because there's only one Spider-Man.
No,
You know,
absolutely,
you can't recreate that magic. You can create a carbon copy of it and hope it has some kind of success, but it's not going to have the same special experience that the original one did.
absolutely. All right. Well, that's going to be the end of our episode today. Next week, we'll have a brand new episode coming for you. We have more to talk about. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, it'll be my character spotlight for next week. So for now, this is going to be Scott and Mike signing out. Thank you very much. And as always, if you've watched to the very end, please make sure you like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Right.